Well, hello. I wasn't sure if there would be anybody here because this is not my normal time to stream. I realize that for the folks who usually join, they're not here because they're, I guess, not all of them are in European time, but a good number of them are. Whereas now you're here. Wherever you are, do say hi and in the chat. And even if you're just stopping by briefly, it'd be fun to say hello to you and see where in the world you are, especially for folks like you who I'm not used to seeing because normally this doesn't work. So this is something of an experiment. Welcome. Let me tell you what I'm working on. I'm trying to get an Objective-C code base. Actually, it's mixed code base. I'm trying to get it all over to Swift. Let's see here. And for those of you, since I assume all of you are new to my stream due to the time, as usual, I do not mind you interrupting me. Oh, good grief. I'm sorry, I saw the chat. Oh, 10-0. Hi, Prague. Prague at 2:30 in the morning in Prague. What the heck are you doing? Go to sleep. No, I won't tell you what to do. Welcome. And Simon, hello. So glad you could come by after all, and that this did work out in the end. Great to have you. Anybody else chime in and let me know where you are. This is fun. So what I'm working on is this open source project that I made some years ago. If you look over here, you can see that it is about half Swift and half Objective-C. The reason I'm trying to shift it all to Swift is not because I'm a Swift believer. No. Programs are there to serve us. And if something is working for you, there's no need to change it. But this is no longer working for me, in that there's been a request for a new feature, and that is to have Swift Package Manager support for this library. And Swift Package Manager, you can have Objective-C only or Swift only, but not both. So I want to change that. Now, last time after we wrapped up and I did a push and I got this, boop, boop, build failing, or wah wah. Too bad. The build is failing, I believe, because I added some new files, but probably only set the target to iOS. And that's not the only target we support. Let's see. We've got iOS and tvOS. So I bet I probably broke things on tvOS side. We can confirm that by checking our actions here. GitHub Actions is really nice, I gotta say. Having a build system that I can script pretty easily. Very nice. All right, what's wrong with my scrolling here? Come on. So yes, build and test is fine. Podspec lint is fine. Build Carthage is not fine. So before I go on any further, I don't want to do the actual Carthage build here because that's boring. But let's just assume this. Let's go for it. And I do use AppCode. I prefer AppCode for almost all of my work, except when I'm messing around with projects. Then I find Xcode is easier, but maybe I should try an app code, right? Though one of the things that we try to do, and viewers like to challenge me on, is I say, well, I'm used to doing it this way, and they're like, why don't you give it a try? Why don't I give it a try? Oh, but I do have code that doesn't even compile right now, because we do have this. Let's continue here. That's our marker. Let's continue here. That doesn't compile, but I'll take that out and I'll put in a bookmark instead. No. All right, let me start by just getting tests warmed up here. I couldn't warm it up because of that compilation failure from that marker. And bear with me. I am on an old computer. You know, ever since I ordered my new M1, maxed out M1 Max with 64 gig, which won't get here until probably another month due to the supply chain problems. Ever since I did that, this computer has gotten so cranky. This is a 2015 MacBook Pro I'm on. It doesn't like me anymore. It's jealous. Okay, so we're green there. And what is, let me just quickly see what's changed. Mock alert. I'm a little puzzled at what's changed. It looks like I changed some commented code to some other commented code. Oh, not quite. I think I was working out what the maybe what the argument is. We'll see. I'm actually not, I don't mind reverting this though. Let's just revert it. And let's start. Let me start by, here I am. I'm about to fire up Xcode. Okay, we'll take a look briefly and see how, if we can figure out target stuff in app code. I'm not sure. Project settings, maybe. Wow, this looks so alien to me. And this is, I need to remember this. The feeling I have right now of like, wow, this is alien. I'm not used to seeing this. I need to acknowledge that for folks who have never used app code, that's how you feel when I show you app code for everything else I do. And there's a bit of, you know, cognitive pushback. Alien, unfamiliar. Let's see. I added, so we are, let me just check which file we're in. UI alert controller. That is the one. So this file, let's see if I can manage targets. Hey, I can do it from here. Hey, okay, this is not so bad. All right. This is not so bad. I don't need Xcode after all. In fact, Xcode, go away. Stop taking up my space. Okay, so project settings may still be kind of a mess. Well, not a mess. Just, it's nice. It is nice in Xcode. There are some new things about Xcode I do like. But manage targets, this is easy. I should do that. I believe that is the one new file I added, and therefore I think this will probably fix the build. Let's find out. I'm going to be lazy and not do a local build. Instead, I'm going to just submit this as a as a project change. So this is an environment. For those of you who haven't seen me before, actually, you maybe you're here because you watched some recordings. I like Arlo's Git notation here. This is an environmental change, not a code change. And this is include. Are you going to finish it for me? I keep waiting for app code to finish my thought, and it's not. Not sure why. All right, so I'm going to do a commit and a push. And then we'll check back with the build system later. So let's continue on from where we are. All right, so here's what I've converted so far. There's this mock swizzle. There's this class method to mock the to create a new UI alert controller. And I believe we were going to go on to the initializer. Let's find it. UI alert controller. There it is. Oh, there's still more to do here. Okay. So this is the initializer. This is what we would like to do. We would like to move this. All right, let's go. So this, okay, so this is just the same as that. That's leftover. Let me paste it in here. That's why I had that in there, just as reference. And now let's begin coding this up. We still want this to be obj-C because this is, the goal is to keep this as a pure refactoring. I want to copy this as much as possible, but lay down a different name. One of the challenges I'm finding with the conversion is that sometimes the mapping between Objective-C names to Swift names is not entirely obvious. Oh, but here it is. Here's the name. This is, in fact, the name of this other method. We'll hop through the header file here, and that's it. Okay, we worked that out last time. So that's what I need to implement, except with a different name. This is all in an UI alert controller extension. All right, let's roll. So init, except I want to do this in parallel. And so I'm going to call this 2, just so that it's not the same. QCL mock title, mock with title. This is a string. Looking up at these types here, message is also a string. Preferred style is a UI alert controller style. And what's it unhappy about now? Okay, designated initializer can't be here. Do I want it to be a convenience initializer? Can't be in an extension. All right. Though. This makes me go, because this isn't really a convenience initializer. Like I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong. A convenience initializer calls another initializer. Is that right? And that's not what this is going to do. This is actually going to do the real thing. Well, let's continue. Let's see where we end up. All right, so the first thing we want to do is call super init. I'm just going to start copying these down here. Actually, well, we'll see. Super init. Oh, it doesn't like that at all. Yeah, it's not liking this convenience bit. This may be challenging. So maybe doing it in an extension is... No, I have to do it in an extension. Okay, let's go back and look at this here. Here's the Objective-C original code. And here, this is essentially in an extension. We face a challenge, right? How am I supposed to create an initializer the rules of Swift are a little different from Objective-C. And so we have to bow to Swift's rules. Let's see here. So let's try to take off the convenience part, and let's try to I'm just going to slap these down. Word style. All right. Cannot assign to a property. Preferred style is a get-only property. It is? How is it working? All right. Hello, Simon. From SwiftDocs. Convenience initializers are secondary supporting initializers for a class. You can define a convenience initializer to call a designated initializer from the same class as the convenience initializer with some of the designated initializer's parameters set to default values. Yeah, thank you for confirming that. I appreciate it. So I'm going to have to call like a proper initializer for that's probably not it though, is it? Like, what is this? Oh, look at this. This takes a title, a message, and the preferred style. And this is itself a convenience initializer. Interesting. All right. So can I say title, message, style? Like, does that get rid of these problems? And we'll let it keep its insistence there. This may do the trick. It looks like in Objective-C, I was just relying on the ability to jam stuff in wherever. All right. So it does this and does one more thing. So my question, okay. Another comment. I think the main constraint in here is that we are extending an Apple class, and yeah, and thus have to be in the extension context. So I believe it has to be convenience. I think you're right. I think you are right. All right, so here we still need to do this mock popover. So I'll put that in there just as a note to myself. Now, I'm not seeing any like red lines or anything, but let me give it a build just to check. Okay, so far so good. So far so good, so I'm going to commit. This is how we roll. This is going to be a feature with just a few lines, so not bang bang. Lay down the start of the initializer. The reason I do a commit with so little code is so that it's a safety ratchet. And if anything goes wrong, I can revert. But so far, so good. Now, what I'd like to try is I'd like to run tests except call this one. So this is parallel change. We have the old code. We laid down the new code next to it. Nothing is using it. Now we switch over to the new code, but we leave the old code in place. I predict that this will pass most tests except for anything dealing with popovers. And that's what I'd like to see, is if this... looks like it got hung up there and is going to crash. Probably on a popover that doesn't exist. Boink. I'm not sure what. So let me do that again. An interesting difference between app code and Xcode that throws people initially is that in Xcode, by default, it always uses the debugger. By app code, by default, it never uses the debugger, and this is a performance win for those of us who use TDD. Because with test-driven development, you don't use the debugger very often. But now I'd like to. So instead of running my tests, I will debug my tests, and we'll see just where it dies. Will it die on the mock popover, or will it die somewhere else? And here's why we avoid using the debugger. It's taken that long to attach to the process. That's time lost. That if you don't need the debugger, it's just going to wear at you. It's not very much time, but it's a little bit of time. Let's see. Here's a breakpoint I no longer need, so let's get rid of that and continue. How do I continue? Command. I'm looking at this. This is another nice thing about app code is that it shows you the keyboard shortcuts right there without having to go find it in the menu. So Command Option R. Keep going, keep going. Oh, beach ball bit. Keep going. Oh, it died already? Hello? Computer. It's what looks like me like freezing up is actually the computer freezing up. I tell you, it's gotten cranky. Come on. Come on. All right. Well, let's have a look. We have an unsafe pointer. Let's spend a little time reading this. So we have a bad access, which puzzles me. We have title, message, and the preferred style, which is an alert. And there is an bridge to Objective-C impl. NS object create tagged string with some unsafe pointer. I'm a little lost. It's trying to create a string, but dying? Why is it trying to create a Swift string, maybe from an Objective-C string, maybe in here? All right. But this should be right here. And this takes string, string. All right, I'm a little puzzled. I don't get it. Any ideas? Any ideas? Now, hang on, I have turned on the heater in this room, but it's starting to cook a little bit. I'll be back in just a second. Yeah. Well, let me set a breakpoint there and we'll try it again. But I honestly didn't get any insight from that. Again, takes time to attach the debugger. But it should get to that line, right? Without... Yeah. CF string create immutable funnel 3. I wonder what that is. No, here it's already giving me a bad access. So I don't know what went wrong. Oh, this title's suspicious. Look at that title. That's something weird. That's not good. Let's back up. Okay. Why? Here we have title, message, and preferred style. And yet this seems to be the same line, but it's... Well, now it's not showing that? That weird problem? Here it is. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Not sure what's going on. I'm going to stop it. I am not sure what is going on. Well, let me set it back to from QCO mock with title 2 back to the plain old one and get to green and just verify that we're back. All right. So, not sure what's wrong. There's a weird place for it to crash. Um, Hello, Blazing Pear. I don't recognize you, but this is not your first time here, um, according to Twitch. So, your suggestion is maybe something is out of date? It could be. I can try doing a clean. It'll take a little bit of time. But let's nuke it. And now switch this, and I'll fire it up with the debugger. And let me extract this. Now let me try. This is going to take a little more time, but it's not it's a very small project, so it shouldn't take that long. No, it really didn't take long. Testing started. Debugger attached. And it sure looks like it. Some inlined stuff and bridging things are maybe getting in my way. Don't understand. Definite bad access. All right, so that didn't work, but it was a good try, a great suggestion. Turn it off and turn it back on again. So let's try this. Sometimes you just gotta print stuff. Is it? I'm actually not expecting any of this to be a problem. I don't expect the preferred style won't print well because it's an Objective-C enumeration, which never does print well. But let's try again. This is arbitrary exploring. Just trying to get any insight. All right. This stack trace is confusing because of the interaction between Swift and Objective-C and what's getting called. But there's title. So if I show the console and I step over it, it didn't. Or maybe that's not the console. There's the console. Okay, there's title. There's message. If I try to step in, wow. Wait a second. It looks like it's... Look at that. We learned something. How? Why? Don't know, but we learned something. All right. Why is it looping forever? Let me try it again without the debugger, just to see. Before it crashes, what it says. Ooh, yeah, it goes on. Look at that. We just completely blow the stack. Why? Why is this? Which calls self init with title, message, and preferred style, which comes out here, ending up back where we started. All right, one more time with the debugger. Well, learned something. Don't know what to do with it yet, but this is all part of the process. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, Simon, is like how, right? So if we say print, and I'm now going to step into, it doesn't even get to that line. It's like, but I'm seeing stuff here that says inlined. If it's inlining directly to itself, which I don't understand, as this is a class function, it's not an initializer. Oh, goodness me. Right. Let's stop. Okay. Something weird is happening. So I'm experimenting now and saying, what if I don't call... I mean, self should still be a UI alert controller. So I'm not quite sure why it didn't like that. Constructing an object of class type UI controller with a meta type value must use a required initializer. Great. Let's put that back. So maybe the convenience initializer is calling itself, even though this is QCO mock with title 2. I don't know, you'd think the names here would be sufficient to steer it away. Except for that's not really the API name, that's just the internal name. It won't like that. Can I call a different self in it? Like this one, which will ignore those parameters. Okay, well, it didn't hang up. Clearly, it's not passing. Doggone it. Well, that was interesting. If I ignore this and say, let me try something else now. Let's say foo and bar. Still trying to learn. This has been remarkably hard. I thought, the last couple sessions I learned so much, it would just start flying, and it hasn't. Okay, looking at the console, title, message, foo, bar. Okay. So very clearly, this is somehow calling this. So Simon, you were almost right. The convenience initializer is not calling itself. It's how is it calling this class method? Even though it has this goofy name, you'd think that that would do it. Ah, dear. Swift is doing something to me. Something weird. So it's like these two are somehow equivalent, which I don't understand. It didn't like that. What's it say? The result is unused. Oh, because it's an initializer. Okay, so what we might be bumping up against is that in Objective-C, you do this weird thing of saying, well, let's call the superinit and let's assign this to self. And then assuming that was successful, let's assign the contents of self and return self. And that's not how Swift works, apparently. I mean, we never do this anymore because this is complaining that the result of the initializer is unused, and I'm positive I can't do this. Because self is immutable. Ooh, this is harder than I thought. Mysteries abound. But this calls it recursively back to itself. Yuck. All right, let's try a new trick. Hackery. Let's try adding another parameter just as a discriminator. So this is going to be let's just say this is an integer discriminator. I'm just trying to change the signature. Just try to delete that obj for me, please. I suspect the bridging is playing tricks on you. Let's try that before we get into this. Could be. Okay, get rid of the comment. Oh, not there. Right. Not that one. this one. Find out. Nope, nope, nope. Still the same thing. Okay. Excellent suggestion, though. I love it. Keep them coming. Because as I've said in other live coding things, I am not the best coder. I'd like to think I have good habits, but I'm not the best coder out there. All right, let's try the discriminator, which we ignore. And that means this is going to be oh, I don't think I can do this. That seems gross. The reason I'm saying it's gross is I'm replacing, here I'm swizzling a function that takes 3 arguments, and I'm trying to stick in a function that takes 4? Scary. I honestly don't expect this will do any better. Yep, same. Now, same. Wow. What the heck? All right, the mystery. Why is 1? I don't know. Intermission time. Let's go see if that build actually made it happier. Okay, it did. Well, we did one successful thing today. I got this back to green. Gosh. Don't understand why this class function with its weird name. All right, let's try changing the name a bit more. Let me say title. So, is it because you are swizzling the init method with a method that also calls init? I wish I remember why I did that in the first place. You are exactly right. That's why it's calling. It's already done this, and so it's... Thank you, Simon, for explaining the mystery. The mystery was, why the heck does this call that, and this call, this initializer call that, and that's because we've already swizzled it. I can't call it. This is the thing I'm trying to replace. Dear. This is the thing I'm trying to replace. All right, so looking at least we're getting some understanding. This isn't a loss, so thank you. If I look at like these properties here, see, they're... this is setting. Oh, I don't know how Swift is going to like this. So the title and message properties are settable, but this one is read only. In Objective-C days, I got around that by tricking it and saying, you know what, that thing, I'm going to redeclare it as read write. All right, let's do a little more. Thank you for the insights. The mystery is now solved. I don't want to call this, but I want the effect of calling this. I want this to say self.title equals title. It's going to complain that it needs a self in it of some kind. Let's see if I can just do that. Let's try this, right? I expect lots of test failures, but maybe it won't. There. Thank you, Simon, saving my butt. Right? So let's see. How many errors did I have just now? "13 errors. So let's try setting self message equals message. And let's try that. 12 errors. Oh, man. But what I can't do is say, okay, now set that preferred style and overwrite it because I told you to. Alas. My hunch is I can't do that cheat of redeclaring it as a read write. And I'm going to have to probably stick this in one of those things where it's like, well, I can't add any properties because this is an extension, but there is that thing, what is it called, where it's like, I'm just going to like add a little more information in a pointer and I'm going to put whatever I want there. Does that ring a bell? This is tricky, but the mystery is solved. That's why it ran through some of those hoops and why I have a second step. I was wondering, why do I make a class method? Here, let me get rid of this. Oof. All right, let's do a little searching, but I'm pretty tired. I've already had a full day, so I think I'm going to peter out pretty soon here. But let's see if I can redeclare Swift. I doubt that Swift will let me do this. Well, I don't know. All right. Well, we solved a mystery. This is what we want to do, but we're prevented from doing because it is read-only. So, in the time that remains, if you could help me out, what is it that you can jam into an NS object and say, isn't there an initializer on that controller where you just set the style? I think there is. Oh, you mean only the style? I don't need to do that. It's right out here. Right, so here's preferred style. Actually, let me look for this. There's the getter. See, this is a mystery. This convenience initializer calls what? I don't know. Like, how do you set the preferred style otherwise? Because these are the only two places where the UI alert controller style is used, and one of them is in the getter. Yeah. All right. Let's go. Let's go up to NS object, see what we have here from a Swift point of view. So it looks like we need to muck around with the object, which we already are. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, no. I know I've done this thing before, but I can't remember what language it's in. Where it's like, okay, I can't add a property, but I do have mystery pointer that I can, like spare pointer that I can use. Let me bring up dash and let's see. Maybe is it in the NS object protocol and not the class? Yikes. Here's the protocol. This is all that's in the object protocol. None of these is what I want. Wow, this is... I guess Swift is making me pay for my Objective-C sins of saying, ignore read-only. Okay. You know what? I'm tired, but this has been fruitful. Let me set it back. Actually, right now, it won't even build. And that might be a good place to leave things. At least it's green on the website in the repo. So unless I've done some major changes here, let me try to get back to green. Like this. So now nothing will call this, but I want to leave it in place Okay, we're green. Let me mark this as sort of a work in progress. This really is unverified stuff. Even though it's small, I feel the 2 exclamation warnings on this. Can't call regular init because it's already swizzled. Can't set preferred style because it's read-only. All right. I'm going to commit this, set a bookmark here, and that's it. I thought this would be smooth sailing, and I was so wrong. I really appreciate you folks jumping in and helping me, staying up late, well, not for Simon. This is actually a reasonable hour for you. But thank you both and anyone else who came by. And we'll do more of this some other time. But for anyone who happens to be watching on YouTube, give this a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Thank you. I want to say 100, even though it's 10-0 to confuse me. And Simon, thank you for coming by. I'm really glad that, I wish we could talk. That's the downside of this. We could do it over Zoom, I suppose, but go get some lunch. I'm going to go get some dinner. And peace. That's why 100 was taken. All right. Take care, folks. Catch you another time.